Hi, it's Nell with the blog Joyous Garden, and now we are continuing on with the repotting method. This time it's the Sweetheart Hoya or Hoya Kerrii. I'm jumping ahead to the future. It's now July 31st. I filmed this video on June 1st here in Tucson. And I just had this plant outside to get a little rain during our desert monsoon season, so I thought I would show it to you. It's looking good and nice and green. It stands up on its own. You'll learn more about why I repotted this plant coming up soon. But it also has some nice new growth coming on it, looking good. I am going to cut off this here because I didn't like all that crazy wacky growth. This plant was just getting out of control. But if you have a Hoya that is a single leaf in a pot, most likely, probably like 90% chance it's not going to grow because it doesn't have a piece of the stem. They sell them around the holiday times and as sort of a novelty, but it's not going to grow into a plant. It's just going to stay as is. Okay, enough on this. On to the repotting. So I just got through repotting that really big snake plant and got it in the house. Boy, that is heavy. Whew. Had to have a glass of water too. And besides the fact it's hot, it's also a bit breezy, so I had to pull the hair back. But now it is on to this one. And as I said, it is being anchored up with a rock because it flips forward. It's so heavy here. So I'm going to put it into an 8-inch pot, and what I'm going to do is put this part all the way to the back, so the part that's lighter of the root ball is to the back, and then I can put soil in the front here or the mix in the front here, and that's hopefully going to help to hold this plant up. Also, I'm going to do some trimming on it too. Now, Hoyas are epiphytes, or most of them that I know of are epiphytic plants, just like orchids and bromeliads. They grow on other plants, so their roots are just for anchoring. They don't have, this one doesn't have a huge root system, so I'm just going to go up to an 8-inch pot. There's no roots. There are no roots, coming out the bottom at all. So it'll be interesting to see how the root ball looks on it, but it has grown a whole lot because I got this as a 4-inch plant, so it is now in need of a bigger pot. And it is June 1st, great time for repotting. Spring and summer into early fall are the optimum times. If you have to repot in the winter, no big deal. It's just not the best time. I like to let my plants just kind of go during that time of year, so prime time, you can put it into here. The roots are growing, the plant is growing, and it'll give it more space, that's for sure. So because Hoyas are epiphytes and they grow on other plants, they like a mix that has some wood in it of some sort or something really rich, because how they get fed in nature is all the plant matter from above falls down on them, so it's a nice rich mix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do half potting soil, a good organic potting soil. I use Fox Farm. Today I'm using a mixture of Ocean Forest and Happy Frog. Sometimes I use them separately, sometimes I use them together, so that's what's going to happen with that. And then the succulent and cactus mix recipe that I use, it's not my recipe, but I do make it. It's got a lot of cocoa chips and cocoa fiber in it. So this plant would like something like half potting soil, half orchid, and mix that has some bark in it too. So that is what I'm going to use. So it's going to be rich, but it's going to drain right through, because if you can imagine a plant growing on another plant, it rains, takes the water it needs, and it just flows right off. So the soil for the snake plant, which was in a 16-inch pot, I mixed up as I went along because it was such a large amount of soil blend. This is small, so it'll be hard to mix up in this small pot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go ahead and mix it up in this pail here. I'm gonna start with 4 scoops of each, and then mix it together. Oops. Mix it together, and that is going to be what the blend is going to be. I could put some extra cocoa chips in here if I wanted to, but I think that the amount I have in there is just fine. So I'm going to go with just that. But I'll leave some alternative mixes in the blog post for you, because of course I do a blog post to go along with every video. So that is always good because there's more details in there. And this is the worm compost blend that about, I'm putting about half a cup of that. That one of the farmers at the farmer's market makes and sells. Okay, so that's a nice chunky mix with some good stuff in it. And I have put a layer of newspaper over the bottom because there are a lot of holes in here, which is good. But what I'm going to do first of all, because I think it'll be easier to do it because they're on the bottom, is I just poke one little hole through each one. The newspaper will eventually disintegrate, but what this does is it just holds in the light mix so it doesn't, so that too much of it doesn't flow out on the first few waterings before the soil starts to compact a little bit. So that is that. So I don't need to add too much in. I'm going to start with this amount. But that's okay, because I'm going to do some more repotting. I'm going to hopefully get 2 more plants done after this. I'm getting a little hot, but oh well, the show goes on. Okay, so hopefully this is enough here. If not, I'll put more in. And what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to prune this because this thing is just flipping out all over the place. Now there's some growth here. There's a little bit there, but I'm going to cut that one there. And this one is just kind of big and stumpy, so I think I'll cut it there. And then let's see if we can see this one over here. This one that's so long, it's like a whip. It's not really, I mean, there is some growth that's gonna appear off of it, but it's just too long and wild, so I'm gonna cut this right here. Okay, and of course here comes the wind. Yay. Okay, so this one I am gonna cut right here. Straight cuts right across. This one I think I'll do here, just because it's getting to be too crazy. Hoyas are vining in nature, as you can see, and they do emit a sap. I don't think it's toxic. I've got to look at that. I've worked with it before. I don't think it is. I don't think it's like euphorbias, but I'm gonna look that up and tell you. But I've got gloves on anyway. I think just to be not quite as crazy, I'm gonna cut it off here, right there. So I cut off that whole big long piece, and that'll make it a little less wild when I go to do the repotting. I just wanted to check that because I've done care posts on Hoyas, and I know the ASPCA considers them to be non-toxic to cats and dogs, so I figured it was probably okay. I honestly haven't done a lot of pruning of Hoyas. The thinner stemmed ones don't like bleed like this here. I've had Hoyas my whole life, but just has, I mean, I've trained them more than I have pruned them, so, but this one was putting out a lot of sap. Well, that's what gardening is. It's just all experience and learning. Learning as we go, even though I've been working with plants for like 55 years now, still learning. Because there are so many of them and so many places to live, to grow them in different environments. I'm living in the desert now, so it's so different than other places I have lived. All right, so this is not bad at all. The root system, the root ball on it is not that extensive. As you can see, it's not really pop bound, no big roots at all. And the root ball stayed nice and intact. So let's get this going in. Gonna just gently pull apart a little bit of the root ball so it loosens up. It gives it a little bit of a head start on loosening up and growing. And I need a little bit more in here. Another trowel full should do it. There we go. There we go, yes. And as you can see, I've got the root ball all the way back, and I'm gonna kind of tilt it toward me a little bit too to get it to not flop over this way. So here you can see I've got it tilted back here a little bit, so I'm gonna fill in all this with the mix in the front. And not only do I get dirty, but my poor camera gets dirty too. Oh well, it's a working camera. Cleaned up a little bit, got a nice little layer, about 1/4 of an inch of the worm compost on the top. I'm gonna put a little bit more of the succulent and cactus mix just to top it off on the very top. And the plant stands up beautifully on its own now, which is good. So I don't have to have that rock in it, that big rock in it anymore. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it right back in the nice bright spot it was growing in my kitchen. But actually, first what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a good thorough watering outside here on the patio. I do wanna wet this through. I had watered this Hoya probably about 2 or 3 days ago, but the mix is really dry, so I want to give it a thorough watering, and then I will put it back in that nice bright spot, and I will resume the watering as usual. I hope you have found this video on Hoya soil mix to be helpful and repotting a Hoya Kerrii. I use the same mix to do all my Hoyas. I currently now have 6 Hoyas. There are many, many of them, but it's the same blend that they all really like and do well in, and there will be more details in the blog post for you, link down below. So I hope you have found this video to be helpful. I thank you for all your likes and your subscribes. I really appreciate them. I have a lot of videos for you to peruse in the archives, and if you go to joyousgarden.com, you'll find lots of blog posts. There are some blog posts I do that don't have a video. Actually, I just did a post on gardens to visit in California. So if you live in California or going to California, go to the website and check out that, because there's no video. So let's get into our indoor gardens and make our worlds a more beautiful place. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.